All right, no matter what, this is going to be the video where we drive this. We're going to put it back together the rest of the way and make this happen right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. This is the free 77 from Ohio that did not move, and I think we got it all sorted out. We're just on our way back together. I spent some time after the last night getting stuff cleaned up that wasn't ready to go so that it's ready to put back together. I found my bolts from the other day so that we can fill in the missing hardware where we don't have it, because there's some missing all over that wasn't right, and we're going to make it right. I just went to town and got another sediment bowl so we can replace that one because it's got some kind of issue. And also in my hand I have, while I'm thinking about it, my parts distributor, and we're going to put that clip onto here so that we don't have the zip tie. He put the zip tie on just to test run it the other day before he sent it on its way. I'm trying to remember how difficult this was. It shouldn't be too difficult. But that would be in an ideal world, and we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a world where struggles abound. And that's the side that doesn't have the whatchamacallit there. We'll get it, friends. We'll get it. Would life smile on me enough that I could get it to jump in there without having to loosen anything? Probably not. Can't even find the groove to get the screwdriver in. Loosen it a little bit. Just enough to get this in there and tighten it back up again. The other side has a longer piece that holds this clip on. It has a longer this piece because it aligns the cap where it belongs. That's the one I gave him last time. So, or no, it's not. I have the long one here. In a second I'll make it make sense. What I'm talking about is right there. That's all made into one, but that's good. We got what we needed, so the cap is tight now. All right, where else should we continue? Well, let's start back here. This is where I was working last. I got that all bolted up. I'm gonna have to make me a cover for this again. It just covers the grease fitting. I talked about that in the last one. Just got to make sure your grease fitting lines up with your access point there. So now we are ready for the miracle in this bag. New hardware. I believe I need a couple 3/8 bolts and probably some lock washers, which I hope I got. Did I get lock washers or not? I got flat washers. I hope these are the right size. If not, they are 5/16 bolts, and I got some of those too. They might be that size. I can't see. No, they're 3/8, I'm pretty sure. I just don't have a good lined up piece here. Alright, there's part of it. I thought about cleaning this all up and painting, and I just stopped at the cleaning up. I figure we'll do a more in-depth nice thing to it later. I'm starting to wonder what my problem is. There, got that side. Part of my trouble is this is so destroyed. It ain't helping us, you know. Putting in more bolts than we took out. That's probably also why it was so destroyed, because it didn't have all the bolts in it anymore. Plus, that's going to make it more fun when we take it all back apart sometime to make it right. Getting close. All right, that's tied on there again. Fun fact, this cover actually has the stuff in it where you could flip it around and you could put the throwout lever on the opposite side. When they first made these tractors, they in fact wanted left-hand power takeoff. And the thinking that they had was, if you had it on the left-hand side, the guy would use his left hand to engage the power takeoff while he was slowly engaging the throttle. But people didn't want that. They wanted to just let her eat. So they moved it to the right-hand side and just rip the throttle open and then jam your power takeoff in gear and go again. That turned out to be what people wanted as the popular thing. So, yeah. Anywhoos, let's move on to this. We have much things we could be doing here. We still need to get the starter bolted down, and I think we have enough bolts and everything, but we should probably get a couple lock washers for that, maybe, just to be kosher. We also need to bolt this back in. And interestingly enough, somebody cut this all out, so they must have been having governor rod alignment issues. But I got some new bolts here for this task if we want to make them match. I'm kind of a fan of stuff matching. I simply earlier just stuck an old bolt in to hold it up so that I could let the paint dry. I painted part of it and then stuck it through that bolt. And then now I figured I'd go back and make it all that it can be. Isn't that the Army's slogan? Be all that you can be. And this one probably won't work like I wanted, will it? There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Trying to think, and that's my downfall in life. Today just did not pan out. I did not get much of anything done today like I wanted, and I'm struggling, friends. That just, I should have got more done than I did. I think we're there. So that's done. Let me go grab some more lock washers because I forgot to buy those. I should have bought those. If I do that, then we can bolt this up. All right, we got us some lock washers here. We got our better combination of bolts now. Earlier, I think when we took it apart, it had a 5/16 bolt in one of these holes, and that's not right. I guess it doesn't matter, but I like to have things kind of uniform. And so I say that right as I'm going to use the nut that is actually the next size bigger, but they did that on some stuff. let's need this for this one. It'll be fine, friends. It'll be fine. I think that bolt is plenty long, and I'm thinking I'm going to get me a shorter one. I don't like this bolt. That's way too much bolt for what we got to do. I'm talking about for the one over there. So let me grab that. Well, this one's not a ton longer, but she might do the job. Oh boy. Tighten that up more. And we're down to this one, which we're gonna struggle with, but can't really get a ratchet in here. Can't really get a ratcheting wrench in here. Alright, I did make one boo-boo in regards to the steering shaft. I could have saved myself having to put it back together if I would have put it back before I put the engine in. I thought that I could still fish it in this way, but I just can't. That other side does not have very much room because that's where the block kicks out at the bottom. So you don't have that room. So I'm going to drive this off of there. Then I'll put that on there and everything will be right with the world, you see. So see, we got to go in through there like such. And then we got to put our universal joint down in there on both of those. And I'm guessing it's probably going to be easier for me to put it on that first and then drive the other shaft into it if I have to do it that way. Again, this would have been easier had I done it the other way. Probably a lot easier the way it's gonna look. Partially because I got paint on that shaft. And that's gonna fight us. You're right in my way, and that's probably gonna have to change. Right there. How about that? I was able to just hand push that one. So if I do that, then what I'm gonna do is drop this bolt in, see? So it can't move, and then I'm gonna drive on the shaft up here, and in theory, it should just walk right on there. This isn't a big deal, it's just inconvenient. It's not like it's not doable, because this is how you would fix it if you have to change U-joints. Alright, let's see if that's what we need. It is. Good deal. Alright, almost. Yeah. Sorry, you're not getting a lot of this, but there's just no room for both of us in there. There's room for me to do it, or there's room for you to watch. But there ain't both. Come on. Yeah, good. There we go. Now, second verse, same as the first. We got to connect this back. And I'm so good that I got it at where it's exactly lined up. Didn't I? Almost. Not quite. Too bad, so sad. Ah, come on. Come on. Right there is where it needs to be. Now, come on. Let's take a look at it so we can see what we're doing. Okay. Put that there. We're getting close, friends. Our parts file's getting smaller, so. Man. Now, to do the bottom here, they had a totally different setup than you're supposed to have, but it worked. All right, so we can decide how we want to do this. They had one of these like this under there, and then they had a homemade jobby on the top through there, which kind of works, but that's not what it was. It was like one way and one the other way, like this. Pretty sure it was like that. Have to look at my other ones to remember for sure. But you had like one that way. Maybe the bottom one was the one that faced this way. I can't remember. But it was like something like that, and it captured it in there. I'm not opposed to using what they had. I mean, that does work. The original stuff was totally, well, not gonna say original stuff. This is the original stuff here. But the early things had like a cast piece that went over the total shaft. Didn't have that ball. So, I don't know. I mean, we can try this again. I don't care. It works for me. It's a totally different idea than what I'm used to, but as long as it holds it in place and it doesn't interfere with the side curtains, I really don't care if that's the way it is. Fine with me. We're gonna have to figure this out now, how this deal all went, because this ain't like we grew up with here. I mean, they had it in there something like that, and it was working for them. I actually think I want to go this other way to match everything else. I'm going to have to be about right there. With this, we're going to have to tighten it. You're in the way. I'm sorry you're always in the way, but you just are. And you can tell it's slightly colder outside here again because your battery is fading fast. Let's see here. Is that the best that can be? The adjustable hammer says yes. Let's tighten this one down and then we'll shove the other one up into it. Since this isn't official stuff. Now the only trouble is the slop in the shaft is taking out the... Yeah, let's something. Oh, there we go. All right, that's in there again. A lot of slop where the shafts were, but there's nothing really we can do about that. That's just going to be how she goes for now. But that's done. Whilst we're here, why don't we go ahead and try to put our oil line for our gauge back on. Not that our gauge was working, but if you don't do this, you're going to have a very bad mess on your, as your block shoots out all of the engine oil, and then you don't realize it, and then it starts knocking, and then sadness happens, and then before you know it, you're getting a new engine. Amazing how that works. Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to watch this? Because there's not much that's gonna happen here. I noticed that the amount of trash that's on that is not letting my wrench fit it correctly. I bet this is gonna leak anyway, and we're gonna have to just buy a new one. That's no big deal. But for today, this is going on. When we work on the dash, straightening all that out, then we'll worry about the rest of it. Yeah, I bet you that's gonna leak. That's okay. We did our best for now. All these wires are junk, I think, anyway. So there's not really much use to do much of anything with them, other than I guess we can hang them in the holder and let them hang out for a while so that there is something for them to I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm guessing what I'm trying to say is we're not going to fool with them right now. We're just going to hang them out to the side. The only wire we need is the distributor wire right there. Now we can try to put the coil back on, which was a eventually I will change it project, because I do not care for externally resisted coils and porcelain blocks. That just doesn't strike me as something I enjoy. And that's what this one had, and I'm not going to complain because it will work just perfectly fine. I mean, just kind of a matter of personal preference. Let's see here. I don't know how he had this, but I know how we're going to make it, because we don't have a choice. I think he had it like that. But we will change it when we later on. And then we're going to put our negative to the points. All right, you went crazy. So we're over to this side now. We can switch our water back to our actual gauge. I just have a cutoff one I keep for this purpose. And then choke and battery cable. And then that side should be back together. And then we're ready for fuel system. See if you can witness the quick switch. Will it work? Will I make a terrible mess? I know which one I'm gonna guess. If you said terrible mess, you're probably right. Come on, quick switch. Oh, now you don't have to be fighting me. It's really sad because this gauge works. That's why I don't want to lose it. It's an original gauge and it was working. So we want to try to keep it going if possible. Sure. And struggling? Yes. Are you still with us? You went goofy a while ago, and I hate for that to happen, because it's a lot of work to do this filming and for it just to mess up on me. Battery cable, do we want to go through there like original? I took off that solenoid that we don't need. I don't know what this starter came off of, but it works. Might have to remember that number right there, because that might be important if you want one. I don't know, because this starter worked. All right, choke should be in all the way. We really don't want it to, it needs to go through one of those holes, if possible. So, are you still there? Good. It's, I brought all the small wrenches when we took this apart, because I wasn't sure what I was going to have to get in there without taking the carburetor off to turn that tight. And so that's what I've been doing, is trying to tighten the clamp that holds the choke from moving, and then we'll tighten the screw that actually does the pulling. There's no way you're going to see any of this. I mean, I just wonder if it'd be better to... That's in. That's just on the edge. And I think that's how I did it a while ago, or earlier, I should say. I thought I did, but now it's not working that way. So we're gonna try a trick. We're gonna try this. 1/4 inch is the size still, so we're going to do this. It was working. It was working. And then then it popped out. Well, we're gonna hope that's in there. I think it is. So that side's pretty well back. I think we're ready now for fuel tank fun. And I bet you we're gonna run out of sunlight again, and I'm gonna have to finish the end of this video tomorrow, which is baloney. But yeah, what say we try to get this out of there? That's usually 3/4. So that's what I'll set my adjustable wrench to. It looks all right, but it was leaking badly. I mean, like the whole time. And it's been my experience that when that happens, finally you're better off to just put in a new one, so that you're starting with something that you know something about. The old ones, you don't know how long they've been on there, what's happening. All right. Yeah, we know better. We can go around another time. Plus, is it any fun if you don't strip it out the first day? You know? Now, normally when I do this, I would make a different fuel line, but we're gonna roll the dice. That fuel line wasn't leaking itself, so we're gonna just swap over and use the old fittings and go again. Yeah. You're gonna mess up anytime because you're only at 5%. And that's usually the magic number where it never changes again. It just goes wacky. And then we're hosed, you know? If you hang out there a minute, whilst I set this in there. I think it's gonna go, friends. And no, before anybody says anything, we're not gonna put that stupid fiberglassy stuff back in there. I don't see the point. I've never had trouble with that. So, yeah. I did realize I forgot to put my governor control rod on, and it would have been a lot easier to do with the fuel tank not in the way, but that's okay. We can make that happen. So I'm gonna put this on and that on. And boys, then I think we're ready to fire it up and see if it'll move. So let me shut you down while I get the stuff buttoned up, and we'll try to make this happen real quick before it gets too dark. All right, I promise this is the one where we're gonna try to drive it, and I think I got enough pieces put back on it to make that happen. Luckily, it's not leaking any fuel, so that's nice. Our choke isn't exactly, that's gonna probably have to be replaced. It's got a lot of tension on it. It's not in the greatest path. Gas is flowing. Boy, that gas looks super clear. I certainly hope that that's actually gas. Now it's dripping. Well, we're gonna have to tighten that. Brand new, and it's already leaking. That's, why should I be surprised? You know? Nothing surprises me at this point. I want to get this done before the sun goes down, so I can take some hay to bovines and not be doing it in the dark, because that sucks. The other day I tried to hurry and get this done for you, and I didn't get it done, and then I still had to feed in the dark, and that was terrible. So it's probably going to only let me do it if I turn it on, and then jam that packing nut tight, you know. That'll work. Yeah, I went way wrong with my choke, but that's okay. Now, here's another good lesson I figured the other day. You don't go by the color of the cables ever, because that's not the way this is hooked up. He's got a black cable as the hot and a red cable as the ground. So if you're buying something that you know nothing about, don't always assume that the colors are what you think they are, because they're not in this case. We should be ready to try to run. Let's see what happens. Probably choke because it's cold, which probably won't work because of the way I got it in a bind. All kinds of new noises I didn't hear before. Like a hammering in the transmission. Or would that be the hydraulic pump? Power takeoff works, so that's interesting. I don't know what that clunking is. Well, we got turnage. There we go. Boy, that pecking is back right away. Rev it up and ignore it. Sounds like a good plan to me. Well, it quits when I step on the clutch, so it can't be the hydraulic pump. do a gear check. That's third. We know 6 gear works. Oh, we're not having any good luck stopping. Why is did our clutch give out? Well. Oh. Well, we might be taking her back apart right away, because we ain't got no clutch. We do if we start it in gear. That's bizarre there. Reverse works. Yeah, if you pull it in neutral, you don't have it. Second gear works. Reverse works. Fifth gear works. First gear works. Can I get to 6th? Yep. Governor? Yep. It's not quite right, but it does work. All right, so what have we learned? Well, we got trouble there. That's probably just oil and crap I sprayed on it cooking off of there. I'm not gonna freak out about that yet. But it's not as bad now. I heard a little noise, but I'm not getting any. I can't step on the clutch now and stop it. If I put it in gear, it'll stop it. So it might be that I need to just adjust it a little more. And it might be that that stuff just isn't going to do it for us, and we're going to have to take it apart again. I don't like that choice, but that is a choice. But we got it enough now to know that the rear end is probably still good. It runs and drives in all the gears. We just need a little bit of clutch adjustment, and hopefully that'll do us, because it pulls fine. It never slipped, and you know, when you start it in gear, that's just enough to hold it. So I'm just thinking that the clutch probably isn't adjusted quite right, and we can fix that. So we will mess with that. I mean, who knows? But it is a runner and a driver, and it's definitely worth saving. So we've got that far. We just need to keep making it more better. It needs a valve cover gasket in its future, because this was a mess. So I'll order one of those. And I might, in fact, do something else, which I thought of the other day. I might swap hoods with my other one, in which case I'll probably need to buy one new manifold to make happen what I want. But on the other one, I think I want to go back to factory under hood exhaust muffler, because this hood hole is perfect. So I might do that, and then this one I'll put the one on that goes straight up through, and use the other hood and have all the fun we can stand. But I'm sure now that we've, you know, done some stuff, we're going to start finding other trouble like this. Now it's leaking water. The more we do with it, the more trouble we're going to find, because that's the way life works. It can never just be good. But you have to remember, he saved this out of a barn buried in the mud, so it's still doing a lot better than it was, you know, if he had taken it to the scrapyard like the guy said. Go ahead and take it to the scrapyard. Well, look at this, running and driving tractor. So anyway, I guess we'll call this one here. You finally got to see it move. and we'll just quit on a high note while it's still running. So that's where we're going to leave this one.